Welcome students. In our previous lecture, we discussed about matter around us. We observe various combination of different materials like elements, compounds and mixtures. Different elements react together to form different compounds. A natural question that comes to our mind, can these elements combine in arbitrary numbers or are there any laws governing these reactions? In this video, we will discuss different laws according to which elements combine to form different compounds. These laws were a result of sharp observation of natural world by the scientists and chemists in 17th and 18th century. This is how science progresses. One law led to the discovery of another law. So we should be very excited to study different laws which shape the subject of chemistry. So these laws relate the volume of one element to another, number of molecules involved in the reaction. So we will study these laws. The combination of elements to form compounds is governed by the following five basic laws. Law of conservation of mass, law of definite proportion, law of multiple proportion, law of Gay-Lussac's law of gaseous volume, and Avogadro law. Let us discuss one by one. In 1789, Lavoisier studied the combustion reaction and he observed that there was no change in the mass of the reaction mixture before and after the reaction. The law states that matter is neither created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. According to this law, in a chemical reaction, the amount of reactant at the beginning must equal the amount of product at the end. That means sum of masses of reactants equal the sum of the products. Let us see the example. When 30 kg of log combines with 1 kg of oxygen, it forms 28 kg ashes and 3 kg smoke. Here 31 kg substances react to form 31 kg of product. This shows that the sum of masses of reactant equals the sum of masses of the product. In second example, when 16 gram of methane combines with 64 gram of oxygen, it forms 44 gram of carbon dioxide and 36 gram water. In reactant side, 80 grams substances react together to form 80 grams product. This proves the law of conservation of mass. Look at the second law, that is law of definite proportion. In 1797, John Proust gave the law. This law states that chemical compound always contains exactly the same proportion of element by mass. That means the mass of the compound is equal to the sum of the masses of the element that makes compound. Here, atoms combine in whole number ratio. So their ratio by mass always be the same. For example, pure water will always contain hydrogen and oxygen in a fixed mass ratio no matter the source. It may be river water and it may be rainwater. Water is made up of two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. And the ratio of hydrogen to oxygen in water is always 1:8 ratio by mass. Proust took two different samples of copper carbonate, one natural copper carbonate and other synthetic copper carbonate, and he found that both had the same composition of elements. You can see the percentage of different elements in different samples. Natural sample of copper carbonate contains 51.35% copper, and synthetic sample also contains 51.35% copper. And natural sample of copper carbonate contains 9.74% carbon. Similarly, the synthetic sample also contains 9.74% carbon. And natural sample of copper carbonate contains 38.91% oxygen, and synthetic sample also contains 38.91% oxygen. This shows that they have same composition of elements. And he repeated the experiment with tin oxide and iron oxide samples also. In 1803, John Dalton proposed a law of multiple proportion. This law states that if two elements can combine to form more than one compound, the masses of one element that combines with a fixed mass of the other element are in the ratio of whole numbers. In another way, you can say that if two elements form more than one compound between them, then the ratio of the masses of the second element, which combine with a fixed mass of the first element, will always be ratio of small whole numbers. Remember that this law only applies to compounds composed of the same elements. It is not applicable for sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide because one compound has sulfur and another has carbon. Let us see the example. When 12 gram of carbon combines with 16 gram of oxygen, it forms 28 gram carbon monoxide. In the second case, when 12 gram carbon combines with 32 gram of oxygen, it forms 44 gram of carbon dioxide. Here, the ratio of mass of oxygen in the given compound is 16 divided by 32, that is 1:2. It is a ratio in small whole numbers. There are some limitations as in the case of isotopes. It can be used to find if a sample consists of same compound or are different. Let us see. When 10 gram hydrogen reacts with 80 gram of oxygen, the ratio of is 1:8. And when 4 gram hydrogen reacts with 64 gram of oxygen, the ratio will be 1:16. Now the ratio of masses of oxygen in both the compound is 1:2. Let us visualize the previous example that I discussed in previous slide. When 1 gram carbon reacts with 1.33 gram of oxygen, it forms carbon monoxide. And when 1 gram carbon again reacts with more oxygen, that is 2.66 gram of oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. Now the ratio of masses of oxygen in the given compound is 1:2. It is a ratio in small whole numbers. It is valid for normal reactions only. This law fails when a non-stoichiometric compound is involved in the reaction, and it is only valid for normal reaction. Now let us discuss about the Gay-Lussac's law of gaseous volume. In 1808, Gay-Lussac observed that when gases combine or are produced in a chemical reaction, they do so in volume which bears simple whole number ratio, provided that the temperature and pressure of reacting gases and their products remain constant. Let us see the example. When 2 volume of hydrogen combines with 1 volume of oxygen, it forms 2 volume of water vapor. Thus, the volume of hydrogen and oxygen combine together bearing a simple ratio of 2:1. Actually, Gay-Lussac's law is of definite proportion of volume. In 1811, Avogadro proposed a law based on Gay-Lussac's law. Law states that equal volume of all gases at the same temperature and pressure should contain equal number of molecules. This law can be written as V is proportional to N, where V is the volume of the gas and N is the amount of the substance of the gas. K is constant for a given temperature and pressure. Mathematically, V is proportional to N and therefore V is equal to K to N. K is a constant. And if we will draw the graph, we will see a straight line. Here, you can better understand through this diagram. When 2 volume of hydrogen reacts with 1 volume of oxygen to give 2 volume of water without leaving any unreacted oxygen. Here, each box contains equal number of molecules. And when the volume or size of the container expands, number of molecules will expand or will increase. Because we know that equal volume of all gases contain equal number of molecules. And we also know that V is directly proportional to N. And therefore, V1 by N1 is equal to V2 by N2. As the law suggests, V is directly proportional to N. Therefore, if we plot volume versus amount of substance, that is N graph, we will get a straight line. This means that as volume increases, number of molecules also increase. Practically, air is filled inside the basketball. Ball expands because more number of air is pumped inside the ball. Another example is respiration. What happens when we inhale oxygen? We observe that our lungs expands. That means volume increases in the lungs. Now let us discuss about another theory, that is Dalton's atomic theory. In 1808, Dalton published a new system of chemical philosophy in which he proposed the following theory. He could explain the law of chemical combination. According to Dalton's atomic theory, matter is made up of tiny particles called atom. An atom is indivisible. All the atoms of element have similar properties, including identical mass. Atoms of different elements differ in mass. And compounds are formed when atoms of different elements combine in a fixed ratio. And chemical reactions involve reorganization of atoms. That means mass is neither created nor destroyed in a chemical reaction. Here you can see that carbon combines with oxygen. It forms carbon dioxide. But it is always formed by the fixed ratio, as I discussed earlier. In next video, we will discuss how to perform measurement, because measurements are essential part of chemistry. Thank you.